Hey there, my name is Rodrigo, and in this video course I'm going to teach you how to work with missing data in polars. And polars is this blazingly fast data frame library. Everyone's very excited about it because it's super efficient. I want to show you how you can use polars to work with missing data. So the main goals for this video course are to be able to identify whether your data has missing values or not. And in case your data has missing values, you will learn how to handle them, how you can work with them, what to do with them. And you will also learn how to distinguish missing values from other special values that polars has. So all in all, you will learn how to work with missing data effectively in polars. So if you're ready to go, and if you're as excited as I am, in the next lesson, we're going to get everything set up so that you can make the most out of this video course. Before you can sink your teeth into some polars code and into some data, you will need to install polars and download the data that you will be using. So go ahead and start by opening your terminal. And after opening your terminal, navigate to a folder where you'll set up everything. For me, that's this polars missing data directory. Go ahead and create a virtual environment. Use your preferred tool if you have one. Otherwise, you can use the Python module venv from the standard library. You'll run python 3-m venv and then the name of the virtual environment directory. I just like to use .venv. Run that, give it a second, and then run the command source space .venv/bin/activate to activate the virtual environment. Once you're in, either by using this method or by using your preferred tool to manage virtual environments, you will want to install polars. If you're using these standard tools, use python 3-m pip install polars. And then go ahead and install Jupyter as well, because you will want to use a Jupyter notebook to go through this video course. Give it a second. It might take a little bit longer than what it's taking now, because in my case, I already had these packages cached. And then just to make sure everything is working smoothly, go ahead and open your terminal, try to import polars, and then run polars.show_versions. You will see a long list of optional dependencies that are not installed, and that is okay. And if you scroll to the top, you should see the main version info regarding polars. You will want to make sure you're at least running polars 1.0. At the time of this recording, the latest version is polars 1.26, but if you're running on a later version, what's shown here will probably still apply because it's part of a very stable API that polars is very unlikely to change. Make sure this works, and once you've done this, you will want to download the complementary data. There should be a big download button under the video, so go ahead, download your data, and move it to this directory. So in this case, I downloaded the data into the polars missing data directory. You can see the directory materials is in here, and if you go ahead and you list the files in there, you will find a file tips.parquet. This is the file with the data that you will be using, and it contains information about restaurant orders. And you will have an extra folder with a set of notebooks that will be useful for you to go back and work through the code snippets that we're going to explore. And once you're ready, we can move on, and I'll teach you how to identify missing data. Now that you're all set up, you can start with the very first step, which is to dig into your data and try and identify whether values are missing or not. That's the very first thing you need to do before you proceed and work with your missing data. So that's what I'll show you how to do in this lesson. You will want to go ahead and open a Jupyter notebook, and to make sure you can write your code exactly the same as mine, you will want to open your notebook session next to the folder materials. You can see that the folder materials is inside the polars missing data folder, which contains the virtual environment where Jupyter is installed. So you'll want to go ahead and ensure that your virtual environment is activated. You can activate it by typing the command you see on screen, source.venv/bin/activate. And once the environment is activated, you will want to run the command Jupyter Notebook. This will output some warnings and some information, and then it will probably open a browser window. If it doesn't, you have these URLs, you have some URLs at the end of the output that contain a long token. You will want to copy one of those URLs and paste it in your preferred browser. So running the command Jupyter Notebook should open a window like this, or if it didn't, pasting the link should. And then you will want to go ahead and at the top left, you will click File, New Notebook. This creates a new empty notebook that you will be able to work on. Once you have your notebook open, you'll want to import polars as PL. And if you follow the steps in the previous lesson, this should work just fine. You import polars as PL because that's standard practice. And after that, you will want to read in the dataset tips that you also downloaded in the previous lesson. Go ahead and use the polars function read parquet, and the only argument you need to pass in is the path to the datasets. In this case, that's going to be materials/tips.parquet. And once you read it to make sure everything worked just fine, go ahead and take a look at the head of your data frame, which should show you the very first 5 rows and its 7 columns. This dataset contains some data about tips from orders at a restaurant. You will see a record ID, the total value of the order, the value of the tip, the gender of the customer, a Boolean value indicating whether the customer is a smoker or not, the day of the week at which the orders took place, and the time of the day, which could either be dinner or lunch. And once you have that, you will use the function null count to count how many null values there are on each column. And these null values are how polars represents missing data. The special value null is how polars represents missing data. So this is what you're looking for. And the null count will tell you that the columns total, tip, and time have some null values. What you want to do next is figure out where they are. And for that, you're going to use the function isNull. So go ahead and let's use the select context to refer to the column time, and then use this function isNull, this expression isNull, and run it. Once you run this, you should get a data frame with only one column that is as tall as the original data frame. And each Boolean value, each true or each false, will indicate whether the time of day was null in the original data frame. And this expression isNull, from a computational point of view, is free because polars already stores this information. So it costs you a little bit more memory because polars always has this information available, but from a computational point of view, this is free. And what you can do is take the exact same code, but instead of the context select, you can use the context filter. And if, again, you refer to the column time and you use the expression isNull, what you'll do is you will filter for the columns for which the time is null. And therefore, you get a result with 2 rows, which are the only 2 rows where the time of day was missing. But you'll want to do this for all columns, not just the column time. So you need to do something else for that to work. Go back to using the context select, and now use pl.call to refer to the 3 columns that had null values, which were total, tip, and time. If you refer to these 3 columns and use the expression isNull, you will get a data frame that contains 3 columns, and each column has Boolean values. For example, the 3rd row has the values false, false, true. And this shows that the total was not null and the tip was not null, but the time of the day was null for this 3rd row. And what you want to do now is combine these three columns into a single column with Boolean values indicating whether or not any column for that row is null. And because you want to combine these Boolean values with the any operation, you have to use the polars function any horizontal. Horizontal because it's along the rows. So you go ahead, use the context select again, and we're going to keep the expression inside the select the same, but this time we also put it inside the function any horizontal. So you will refer to the three columns total, tip, and time, and use the expression is null. And if you run this, you get a single column with Boolean values that now you can use to filter. So you can go ahead, you can actually copy the code, you can paste it, and instead of using the context select, you can use the context filter. And if you run it, your result will be a data frame with 6 rows and 7 columns, and it will show you all the rows that have some missing values. So now that you're able to identify these missing values, in the next lesson I'll show you how to work with them.